race fans. This is Dr. K from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm wearing a nice floral shirt because this is the Breeders' Cup weekend, and we're going to talk about turf racing at Del Mar, and particularly in relationship to the Breeders' Cup. Let's talk about just how Del Mar plays out and has played out in 2017, 2021, 2024, and how we expect it to play out today. And so up on the screen, we've got a bit of a video camera issue, but we can put up the slides, and that's what you see here. It's really important to understand that Del Mar is so much different than a place like Santa Anita. At a place like Del Mar, you can be back in the pack, and if you get the right pace set up, you can win. Santa Anita, that's not almost ever the case. Closers can win, so nobody's prejudiced. Number two, the Euros are much superior to the American horses, and especially when there's a pace setup that favors them. For example, last year in the Breeders' Cup Sprint for the juveniles, 5 furlongs, and yet the Euros ran 7 out of the top 8 spots because there was a pace meltdown, as there almost always is because the American horses go out there, go too fast, and set it up for the Euros. And this weekend will be no different than that, not only in the sprints, but on almost all of the early routes on Saturday as well. Some of the later routes, there's some pace issues that we'll talk about in a little while. But you got to be ruthless on class and distance. So many of the horses, especially on class, don't fit. You're looking for horses that have run well, if not won, in Group 1 and Group 2s in Europe more than anything else. And the American horses, you need people that have won also either a Grade 1 or a Grade 2 as well. But you really need to be ruthless on class. Kick out the ones that have not competed either at a high level like a Grade 1, Group 1, Grade 2, Group 2, or have played somewhere in the same ballpark as horses from Grade 1 and Grade 2, Group 1, Group 2. If they don't have the class, just strike them no matter how good their numbers appear to be. Next, so you need to think about how fast the Euros need to run in order to qualify. Think about the 12 seconds a furlong rule. So if it's a 5 furlong race, anything better than a whole minute, so anything that's 56, 57, 58 qualifies. Europe racing is so much slower than the US in a certain sense, so when you see very good times from European horses, you know they're doing good. So you have a lot of horses that then run at the 6 furlongs in Europe. Anything that's 112 and faster, that's fast, that qualifies. When you get to horses that have raced at 7 furlongs, 124 and better qualifies. And then when you get to the mile, 136 and faster qualifies. Again, look for the fast Euros. That's what you want to do. For those of you who have bought the book, I hope you've read Appendix A, which is the summation and the analysis of the 2024 Breeders' Cup races. I hope you read it a couple of times. The book will absolutely pay for itself if you've read Appendix A. And so hopefully you've read it several times and understand that you first have to analyze the pace. In so many of these races, particularly here on Friday and then a few on Saturday, you've got a whole bunch of early speed horses, E's and EPs, that are just going to set it up for the pressers and the deep closers. So you've got to really look at pace first and foremost, and the horses are going to be compromised by pace. You just have to strike a line through them, and they obviously are going to affect the race and how it gets run, but they're not going to win. Again, there's a couple of races on Saturday where that's not the case, where there's almost no pace in the race to start with. But don't worry about that. We'll get to that when we get to Saturday. But again, pace is the first exclusionary factor. Those are going to be compromised by pace. You need to eliminate no matter what their class level. Second, you need to look at their class level. And if they're not classy enough, if you don't see Group 1, Group 2, Grade 1, Grade 2, or having run competitively with horses from those levels, then they don't have enough class and you got to get rid of them. The next issue is distance. It's not so much this year in the Breeders' Cup. It's one of the few Breeders' Cups where I've looked at and excluded almost no horses. But there's some horses that just can't do the distance. You've got some horses that are moving from sprints like 5 furlongs and trying a mile. Horses that are basically on the front at 5 furlongs are going to be just way too fast. They can't ration their speed. Even if they're bred for a mile, they're just going to be part of the pace meltdown up front. And lastly, you can use the numbers at the very end. Again, if you've got the book and you've gotten to the number section, again, the way you calculate the numbers, you can use the numbers at the very end. But you've got to go through a pace first, class second, distance third, and then the final analysis where you can apply numbers. So good luck this weekend. I'm going to be putting up 2 more videos, one for the Friday races on turf and the second one for the Saturday races on turf. And so we're looking forward to talking to you. And if you've got any comments, please put them on YouTube. But we should have the video up and going. We had an update situation, and for some reason the video no longer works. We'll figure that out, hopefully in time for the next video.